Good evening, friends. I'm Dr. Ajay Shah, bringing this another great live. I have a special guest, so let's get a quick page update. As you know, we have 100,000 followers now. We are also doing this live cooking demonstration with my wife. All our lives are going to the YouTube, so we are active on YouTube channel. Also, same name, Healthy Living with Dr. Ajay Shah. So let's invite our today's guest. Today's guest is Anthony Masiello. He's actually a lifestyle coach. I met him personally at a meeting, so I know him very well. He's a great friend. He has his own personal transformation, and he's been very active with the telehealth, which has been a very beneficial to a lot of Americans with this COVID-19 happening. So let's welcome Anthony Masiello. Welcome, Anthony.
Thank you, Dr. AJ Shah. It's very nice to be here. It's a real pleasure. I'm glad we finally got together to make this happen. Thank you.
Oh, that's great. So please tell us, where do you live and what type of work you are doing currently right now?
So I live in Clinton, New Jersey, and I am currently a health coach, part-time health coach, and my main focus is running a telehealth service. As you mentioned, it's called plant-based telehealth. And I'm doing all of the business and operations and really launching this platform that's a national telemedicine platform so that people all over the country can have access to these amazing healers like yourself practicing lifestyle medicine.
No, I think I definitely want to hear all about the telehealth model. Let's cover quickly what we always talk about, and those are the 6 pillars of healthy lifestyle, because that applies to every American, whether they go with telehealth or not. So please tell us, let's start with your own transformation, because I always have believed that when we hear a story, when we hear a personal journey, when we hear a personal transformation, that actually motivates me and motivates many other people more than reading a book or even reading some research studies. So please tell us about your own transformation, what prompted you, and how did you do it?
Yeah. So it's kind of a long story, but I think we'll take our time and let's keep it interactive. If there's something that you want to know a little bit more about, you make sure to chime in and let me know.
Yeah.
My story starts back when I was a kid, a toddler, or maybe beyond toddler, but when I was in elementary school. Something happened. See, my mom lives in North Carolina. My dad lives in New Jersey. And I used to travel back and forth. I would spend my school years in North Carolina with my mom, and I would spend my summers and my holidays in New Jersey with my dad. And something happened between the 4th and 5th grades that when I went back to North Carolina to start the 5th grade, my friends were asking me how I gained so much weight. And back then is what they said was, Anthony, what happened to you? How'd you get so fat over the summer? And I guess I didn't notice because it happened gradually. My brother probably didn't notice because he was with me during the time. But my friends who had not seen me in about 2.5 months, they noticed. And I tried, to lose weight at a young age, and I was never able to do it. And I wasn't incredibly obese, but by 1980s standards, I was much bigger than most of the kids in my class. And it kind of led me to the point where I kind of identified myself as like the fat kid. And that had a lot of implications throughout my life, kind of carrying that, that filter in how I interacted with the people and with the world and with the environment around me. It prevented me from, it really zapped my confidence quite a bit. It prevented me from doing and trying things that I otherwise might have tried. And then as I got older, I would continue to try to lose weight, and then I would, gain weight, and usually gain weight more again. Because the only way I was trying to lose weight was basically by depriving myself, just by trying to eat less, keep myself hungry. What my family would say is, Anthony, you got to watch what you eat. And I was watching it right into the time that I was eating it. You know what I mean? Like I never had a plan. I never had a strategy. I never had anyone who could really help me. By the time I was a teenager going through high school and then even in college, I had doctors at checkups. They would tell me that I needed to lose weight, but also they needed to lose weight by that time. By the time we got into 90s, many people were overweight and obesity was even becoming much more prevalent. So, so it was clear to me, I didn't really think that they could help me either. So I identified, and I just thought that's the way it is. Now I'm 6'4", so I'm a tall person, and I also was obese. So I kind of would make jokes, and I would shrug it off, and I would say, "Oh, I'm just a giant. I'm wider than you, but I'm also taller than you. So what, what, I'm proportionate. Like I would tell myself all these things. I would try to make it funny, make it entertaining, make it interesting, to try to distract from what it really was. But I will tell you, and I tell people now, and I share this because I think it's important, is that it wasn't, it wasn't a nice way to grow up. It was actually hard for me. I know it's not, excuse me, that's not true for everyone, but for me it was hard. It brought together a lot of challenges. And then as we fast forward into adulthood, I got married. I started a career. I actually had a good job going, and my wife and I were starting a family. So we went, well, we had our first child. His name is Evan, and that was in 2004. And then when she was pregnant with our second son, I went to get additional life insurance. So I applied when before Evan was born, I applied and got a 20-year term life insurance policy, and they put me in a very high risk category, but they insured me. In October of 2005, when my wife was pregnant with my son Henry, I was actually denied a 20-year term life insurance policy. Now, to put that into perspective, I was denied a 20-year term life insurance policy at age 33. And that's scary to me as a new dad, and I loved being a father. I mean, I still love being a father, but I always wanted to be a father. I was into it. From the point of reading all the parenting books and getting prepared, doing everything, right? I was excited about it. But then to have this company, and I know how the insurance company makes their decisions, right? It's all analytics. They plugged in all my medical information, and it said, this guy's not going to make it to 53, right? Don't insure him. This is a bad bet, right? So I understand all of that. And that was really scary. That was really, really, I remember standing in my kitchen and reading this letter saying denied. And I was in a mindset that I was ready to hear that. And what I mean by that is if I would have been in a different mindset, or if the message would have been delivered in another way, it could have been softened. It could have been said, oh, well, this insurance company is too conservative. Let's go try with another insurance company, or they don't know what they're talking about. We'll get a note from your doctor. We'll get, we'll fight it basically, right? That's another position that I could have taken. But instead, I decided to own it. And I said, okay, something's wrong and I need to fix it. And I set a goal to get that life insurance policy. I didn't know when or how, but I was going to get it. Now, why did they deny me? Right? I mean, this is the important part. 33 years old. I weighed 360 pounds. I had a 54-inch waist. I was on medication for high blood pressure. I had high cholesterol. I was diagnosed with sleep apnea. I would get migraine headaches, the kind where I actually had to come home from work and lay in a dark room to try to get some relief. I was on prescription migraine medicine as a preventive, but it wasn't working for me. And I had eczema on my fingers. I had psoriasis on the back of my neck. My BMI was completely out of whack, and none of these one things alone sounds terrible. There's a lot of people walking around with high cholesterol. There's a lot of 30-somethings walking around on blood pressure medicine. There are a lot of obese people out there. But for whatever reason, this combination of everything that I had going on, at least to this insurance company, made me uninsurable. And that was the most tremendous wake-up call. And at that point, I realized everything had to change. Everything. It was no longer an option of if I was going to do this, It was no longer an option that I'm going to try to do something. I had to do it. But the problem, I had no idea what to do. You know, I had tried before. So I said, it was in October, and I said, okay, I'm going to figure this out for next year. So I started doing what I normally do, right? I started trying to eat less. And I set a New Year's resolution going into 2006, no more sweets and no more soda. That means nothing that a normal person would call a dessert. So no cookies, no muffins, no cupcakes, no ice cream, any of those sweets, right? And no sweetened beverages, right? So no sodas like that. And and I want to mention at the time, weighing 360 pounds at the time that I was denied this life insurance policy, I was already vegetarian, because in the 90s, in 1994, actually January 24th, 1994, I made the decision to become vegetarian and to give up alcohol. And I actually did lose some weight, and that weight loss actually lasted about 2-3 years. And that was the most success that I had losing weight my entire life. But it came back because I found pizza. I found cheese stuffed pizza, stuffed crust pizza. I found the garlic sauce that goes on top of the pizza. All these rich foods, Ben and Jerry's ice cream. We would get the Chubby Hubby brand, or the Chubby Hubby flavor, and I told my wife she couldn't have any because she already had a Chubby Hubby. That was me. Yeah. So, so I knew that I didn't want to start eating meat because I had already felt better than ever when I initially gave that up in the early 90s. So I didn't know. So I really didn't know what to do. I cut out those two things, and I really officially started in January. So I kept myself hungry. I ate no sweets. I gave up all sweets. I gave up all sodas. And by March of 2006, I had not lost 1 single pound. I still weighed the same. And that hit me almost as hard as the initial shock of being denied that life insurance policy. And because I felt hopeless. I didn't know, I felt stuck. I felt like there was no fixing this, at least with the things I know. But I was determined. My wife was getting closer to giving birth to our second son. And I felt like, never mind the fact that the insurance policy, making sure that I can provide for them if something terrible happens to me. But what kind of, how was I going to be taking care of them even while I was around, right? The quality of life and everything was suffering. So I kept looking, and I was searching on the internet for vegetarian weight loss. And it wasn't the first thing that popped up, but eventually I found Dr. Furman's book, Eat to Live. This is the first edition of his book, yeah. And on Amazon, and it's actually still on my shelf. It's one of the books right over here.
I can see that.
Yeah. And on the cover of his book, Eat to Live, it says fast and sustained weight loss in this big splash right in the front, right? And I said, well, wow. I said, that's what I want. I want fast and sustained weight loss. But then I read the reviews on Amazon, and almost nobody in the reviews talked about weight loss. They talked about getting healthy. And I said, wow, I'm not really looking to lose weight. What I really want to do is I want to get healthy, right? And they, even in the comments there, they talked about it. And Dr. Furman talks about it in this book. The weight loss is a side effect of becoming healthy. And I thought to myself, I applied a little bit of logic, and I said, the insurance company actually doesn't want me to be smaller. The insurance company wants me to be healthier. Like, that's what I need to concentrate on. So Dr. Furman's book, put that into my head. So I ordered the book, I read it, and I did exactly what it said. Now, this isn't to say that I was perfect starting day one, because I had to learn and I had to grow into becoming what Dr. Furman describes as being a nutritarian, right? So it's very easy in the beginning. I knew that I had to give up dairy, right? So that's something I could understand. So so right away I start to give up dairy, right? I was already off of sugar, processed sugar. And the key take home that I got is I need to eat more vegetables, more fruits. And that became my mantra, greens and beans. Like that's what I eat. If I have a choice to eat anything, it's going to be greens and beans. So I started with adding more fruits and vegetables to my diet. So for example, I never ate breakfast before. I would have a large coffee and then that was it. And then I would eat lunch, around noon or something like that. So I said, okay, well, at my work in this cafeteria, there's this beautiful fruit bar. I'm supposed to eat as much fruit as I can get into, as much fresh fruit as I can get into my body. So I said, well, I'll start by having fruit for breakfast every single morning. And that's all I had, fruit. And I even, with what I learned in that book, I even knew I had to give up the caffeine. And the main reason I had to give up caffeine is because when I would drink the caffeine, I would get the energy. But then when I would come down from the caffeine, I would feel hungry, or at least I thought it was hunger. So I would just eat. So I noticed these cycles throughout the day. I was eating and snacking all throughout the day at 360 pounds. I didn't need calories, right? I needed some energy. So I ramped myself off caffeine. That probably took me about 4 months or so. And then I started eating more fruits and vegetables. So even in the beginning, if my friends at work were going out for pizza, I would still go for pizza and I would still get the pizza. But I had a rule. I had to eat a salad first, and not like a small side salad. I had to order the entree salad, right? Like that normal people just eat. And I would, in the very beginning, I'm just being, completely fair. I would eat the whole salad and then I would eat 2 pizzas or 2 slices of pizza. So I was actually eating more because before I would just get the 2 slices of pizza, but I was putting the vegetables. I was filling myself with the vegetables. And then I started, not eating the crust, right? And then I started getting 1 slice of pizza. And then it was 1 slice of pizza loaded with veggies. And then it would be 1 slice of pizza loaded with veggies, but no cheese on it. Like here in New Jersey, we have great pizza. So we can get pizza with fresh tomatoes on top and no cheese. You can just walk in and get a slice of that. So it still was the white crust. So I still had that on my list. This was something I need to get rid of, or I need to really cut down on. But this is, in the beginning, this is how I transitioned. So I would say I transitioned aggressively because it took me about 3 to 4 months to get all these things off my plate, to the point where I was eating the big salad. I was eating no dressing because I wasn't trusting dressings from restaurants and stuff like that. And I said, well, when I come home, why should I even make a dressing? I know that if I put some raisins on my salad, if I dice an apple on my salad and put some red onions and some apple and, put enough flavors in there, that I don't even need a dressing. And if I learn how to eat a salad without a dressing, then I can eat a salad anywhere, right? I don't need to have a fancy dressing that has no oil. I just need to have a bowl of vegetables, right? And when I was out, I learned to order steamed broccoli, and I would put that right on top of my salad. So I would learn to do these things. Or if I was at a Mexican restaurant, I could get a side order of beans, and I could just dump that right on top of my salad. So I just learned how to eat pretty simply. And I can spoil the punchline, but you already know this, and it worked. Like, I lost weight fast. So I bought Eat to Live. I started transitioning. By the time we brought my son Henry home from the hospital, which was in May, so 3 months, I looked it up, based on the date that I bought the book on Amazon and the time my son Henry came home from the hospital. In those 3 months, I lost 40 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah. And at that point, I was unstoppable. Like, I had enough momentum at that point where I just continued. And the weight loss didn't keep up that fast, but I lost about 8 pounds a month, every single month, for 20 months. I lost 160 pounds in 20 months.
Wow.
And yeah, as I was going, my doctor said she wanted to see me more because I told her what I was going to be doing, and she was incredibly supportive. She knew nothing about plant-based nutrition. She had heard of Dr. Furman because it turns out he only lives about 10 minutes from where I live here in New Jersey. So she had heard of Dr. Furman. She had not read his book, but she was very supportive of anything I wanted to do to try to get healthy. And she had me logging my blood pressure 3-4 times a day so that I could bring her these sheets every 2 weeks. And she was lowering my medication. She started asking me about my headaches. She started, she was recording my weights for me and everything. I mean, she was a tremendous partner, and she was a huge help in helping me to go through this transformation.
No, I think you brought so many great points. I think number one, when a life insurance company denies you, because to be honest with you, life insurance company has a better algorithms than even many doctors and universities have algorithms. They actually, because when it comes down to making any kind of a diagnosis or judgment, money speaks, and insurance companies are into making money. They are not into your health. So if they think you're going to die, they're not going to give you the insurance. And their algorithms are many times more predictable than even any other medical algorithm. So I think I'm glad you applied for the life insurance, because that was a best wake-up call anybody can get, because they are very more accurate than even many doctors. I think many times doctors actually are not very, I hate to say that about medical profession, but doctors are not very upfront about predicting the risk, because they're just trained to tell you the happy thing. They're not trying to tell you that you're going to die in 5 years or 7 years. Well, life insurance company might predict that you have a chance of dying in 5 years, 30 or 40%. So I think I'm glad you applied for the life insurance. Second thing, this It to Live book is my go-to book. Actually, I put that as number one book in my life. I have given it out to at least 200 or 300 patients at cost to cost. I buy from Amazon and I sell it to them cost to cost. They don't have to, many of them old people don't have the Amazon account. Now everybody has it. But I'm talking about 2-3 years ago.
Sure.
I sell it to them. And many times now, actually what I do is a page 216 out of that book, which is the 6-week plan, what you probably started. And that 6-week plan, I just give the copy of that page to my patients. And if a patient follows, which many of my patients follow, their weight loss is fast, sustainable, healthy, and fun and tasty. And I think I agree with you. I think many people think that going plant-based, whole food plant-based, you cannot lose as much weight as a keto diet. That's not true. If you truly do page 216, which describes in It to Live book, you can lose 2 to 3, sometimes even 5 to 6 pounds a week, depending upon where you start. If a person is 400 pounds, they can lose 5 to 6 pounds a week, as much, if not more than a keto diet, in a much more healthier way. So I think I'm glad this transformation happened. Obviously, you look great. I mean, your family is happy. They got their young, healthy father back. You can run with them. You can play with them. And now you are helping thousands and millions of people with your program. So let me ask you the next question. I think your transformation is great. Many times, it's hard for people to sustain. They start, and then they're difficult in 1 year, 2 years. We know 99% of people gain their weight back, sometimes even more than they lost. So how did you manage to sustain this thing? And what do you eat day-to-day base right now? And what kind of exercise and sleep and meditation and other things you do to make a healthy lifestyle, not just about eating, but as a whole holistic lifestyle?
Yeah. So I just want to also add, when you're telling your patients 216, also look ahead to page 263 or 264, because now my story is in the second edition of Eat to Live. I read the first one, and actually I got to include it in the second edition that he wrote, the current copy that people are buying now. So it's one of my proudest moments, because as you said, I'm forever grateful to Dr. Joel Furman for writing that book, for putting this information out there. People talk about everyone's programs and all of these things. I spent about $12, and I like you said, I got a new life in less than 2 years, and now I've maintained that for another 13 years since, right? So it's really about the mindset. It's really about actually switching, doing, committing, and making it work. And that's how I sustain it as well. So the funny part that people are usually surprised to hear about, and this mostly sounds foreign to people who have not made the switch yet, is The way I sustain it now is I do exactly the same thing that I did to lose the weight, is exactly how I continue to eat. I never changed, right? My weight loss dropped and I stopped losing weight, but I didn't change. That's not because I changed the way I eat. I didn't start eating cookies. I still have not since 2005. I had not had a cookie, a cupcake. I've never had a slice of one of my children's birthday cakes, even though now we get like some healthier vegan cakes for their birthdays, but I've never had a slice of birthday cake for my second son. The first one, I had it the first 2 years. I probably was trying to take his slice of cake the first couple of years, but that's the key to maintaining it. And then the other thing that it's really hard for people to understand until they experience it, and I would love to hear your thoughts on this as well, is I continue because life is better, because I'm having more fun now than I ever imagined. And I wake up every morning feeling better than I could have ever imagined that I could possibly feel. So there's no reason for me to go back. There's nothing that I miss. The fact that I don't eat French fries anymore doesn't bother me at all. The fact that I don't have ice cream anymore doesn't bother me at all. Like, those things are so minor compared to the quality of life that I have now, the things that I can enjoy. Like you said, spending time with my children is huge for me. When we would play basketball when the kids are small on the driveway and the ball would roll off, right? Most people, most of the dads that I know would tell the kids, "Oh, go get the ball," right? I wasn't doing that. I was racing them for the ball. We were running together to try to get the ball. And then they would try to push me down in the grass, right? And I would just laugh. And in the winter, we look forward to going snowboarding together. And who's the first one up in the morning, excited about getting in the truck and packing up and going? It's me. I'm waking everybody up. And I was like, come on, let's get our stuff together. Let's go, right? And who's the last one that wants to get off the mountain? They get a little bit annoyed because, again, it's me. Like, I want to stay. I want to play, And people talk about lifespan and improving lifespan. And that's what I thought I wanted, right? I wanted a longer life. But the new term, and I've been hearing people talk about health span. They want to be healthier longer. And then I have to give Dr. Furman credit for this one too. But I hear him talk about it, and he calls it play span, right? Because it's not even the period of time that you're healthy. It's the period of time that you're having fun, right? And I know that, that's in his core. I've gotten to become good friends with Dr. Furman now. And, and he's all about it. I just see he learned how to surf last week. I've been mountain biking with him. We've been hiking together. We go, he skis, I snowboard, but we've been all over, mountains, and it's always an adventure, right? And it's this passion for living and enjoying life that's worth it. That makes it all worth it. So I know.
I think I agree with you. I think when we eat whole food, plant-based, I think we are obviously getting more water from the plant-based food, so that we are always hydrated. That helps our mood, that prevents a brain fog, that helps our skin, that helps our energy. We're always getting a balanced fiber, so that the sugar spikes are not that high. So we are never going through sugar crashes when we eat those processed food and sugary foods. We are not getting all that animal protein, animal products. We are not getting that, casomorphin from cheese and other things. We are never doped out. So I think whole food plant-based is just not good for health, but it's good for energy, good for mood, good for liveliness, good for playfulness. I mean, it just makes you a new person. It almost turns into like a new athlete. And I think now we know this Game Changer movie. Some of the world's best athletes are vegan, whole food, plant-based athletes. So I think, and even in that movie, and we know the data that recovery from any kind of physical activity, and particularly any kind of long marathons and triathlons, recovery in whole food, plant-based people is much more quicker and much more safer than people who are not whole food, plant-based. So I think I agree with you. It's just not a lifespan. It's a health span. It's a fun. It's just having the joy in life, spending time with the friends and family. And I think you are a living example. And I think many people, I'm glad we brought you on this live, because many people can learn from you, can mimic you, can buy the book and read the book, and can actually start their own journey from tonight or from tomorrow. I know they can order that book on Amazon tonight and have it in 2 days and start their journey in 2 days. So I think that's a great thing we covered. I want to cover a little bit about a whole food plant-based no oil diet and comparing with a standard American diet. Like in terms of what are the things that we include in each type, and what are some of the benefits and the pros and cons for each type?
Yeah. So from my perspective, I am very much a follower in that regard. I mean, I've spent a lot of time now learning the science and things like that, and I learn it just to basically keep myself informed, mostly for conversations, because I keep it so simple. I learned when I was focused on weight loss, I learned about the calorie density of oil, the caloric density of fats, the hormones and things that are in the dairy products, and then the dense calories and how instantly absorbed they are from the refined sugars and from the white breads and things like that. And and I mentioned, that the roller coaster ride that the caffeine puts us on throughout the day. So I just pushed that stuff out of my diet, and I didn't get too into the details of why to do that. I took this approach where I just surrendered to the process. I opened my mind for the first time in my life. I didn't try to pretend that I knew everything I needed to know. I actually wiped myself and I made myself a blank slate, and I learned from the experts who came before me, and I just did it, right? And then when I started helping people, I had to know more about the details of what to do. But I also learned that the most important thing for someone like me to help people is to help them to change their mind, right? To help them really get I call it their mindset, put themselves in a position to support themselves. And that goes all the way to things like self-talk. What do we tell ourselves when we look in the mirror? What are the things that we think about ourselves, when we're in the shower, when we're going to sleep at night? We have to keep those things positive and supportive. We can't be beating ourselves up. We can't be telling, we can't be focusing on the things that we don't want, right? We can't be saying, oh, I can't eat cheese, I can't eat cheese, I can't eat cheese. Well, guess what? If you think about cheese all day, it's going to end up in your mouth, right? So those are the things that mostly I talk about. Now, I do eat, as you described, a whole food, plant-based diet that doesn't contain any salt or oil. Well, when I'm at a restaurant, I don't control the salt. I can order around oil most of the time, but some sneaks in when I eat out at a restaurant. But at home, we don't even have oil in the house. We don't have a salt shaker in the house. Everything that we cook here is prepared without any salt or oil. It's obviously all vegan, whole food, plant-based. I really like the term whole food, plant-based because it's inclusive. It tells us what we do get the majority of our calories from: whole, unrefined plant foods. And it does leave a little room on the fringe for people to slip every once in a while. And sometimes, personally, I will slip with a little bit of white bread, right? Like if I'm out at a restaurant, or if we order veggie pizzas now, for the family, I still have my salad with it, but I'll have a slice of pizza. The rule at my house is that if it comes in the house, it has to have 5 vegetables on top of it. At least 2 of them have to be green, so it's always spinach and broccoli, but it has the white crust, right? So there's a little bit of room there. For other people, they use sweeteners. They might be use some maple syrup or something like that. Personally, I don't. I have a line there where I don't eat anything that has maple syrup in it. There's 2 aspects to all of these foods that we're talking about, especially these rich foods like the white breads, like the sweeteners, especially things like the maple syrup. So there's the immediate health effects that it has from consuming it, the physiological effects that it may have in our body, whether it digests quickly, it sends us on that roller coaster, it's a burst of energy, it spikes insulin, elicits an insulin response, if it's going into our bloodstream quickly like that. So there's all of those things. But I honestly believe that the more important is the psychological effects. And what it does to our sense of our flavor expectation of foods. Because me, if I go eat I'm eating peaches right now. Actually, I'm cutting up peaches and tomatoes and I'm eating them together because both are in season right now up here in New Jersey, and they taste so good together. But if I was used to eating even maple syrup sweetened desserts and things like that, the peach wouldn't taste so good to me because it can't compete. They to make syrup, even I'm talking pure maple syrup, that comes from the tree. They take 10 gallons of liquid from the tree and they concentrate it down. They boil it down to 1 gallon. It's a 10 to 1 from what you would find in nature. That's no longer whole, right? But some people can handle that. But for me, it messes up my flavor expectation. Some people can handle it in moderation and and it's probably not too bad for them medically. But for me, the flavor expectation gets out of whack. And psychologically, I don't appreciate the whole plant foods anymore.
No, I think that's an excellent point you made that this food industry has hijacked our taste, actually. I think with salt, sugar, and oil, and then concentrating all of them in almost like 10 to 1, like you said, even sometimes 100 to 1 ratio, that our taste buds are just so overflooded with this, all variety of tests that we start to lose our natural taste ability. And until you go away from it completely, you may not enjoy the all natural food. And so I agree with you. Some people, when they are not whole food plant based, for them, eating a peach or eating a strawberry, they say it just doesn't taste as good as some of the other things they are used to eating. So I think
they don't get the same flavor from a peach or a strawberry as me or you, or or whole food plant based.
I think that's an excellent point. I think you need to, and I think that's where we need to realize that the food industry obviously has invested interest into keep you addicted to this taste. And I think unless you come out of that addiction, you will never enjoy the natural food. But once you come out of that addiction, the natural food start to taste you so much. Plus, like you said, beside the taste, the psychological benefit of coming out of that addiction, knowing that this is healthy for you, all those things, I think it just multiplies. Once you start enjoying the natural food, it's just your psychological well-being just keeps growing up and up and up. So I think, let's talk a little bit about physical activity. What do you say when people are starting their healthy lifestyle? How much exercise they should do, and how much the physical activity plays a role when it comes to healthy lifestyle?
So how it plays a role. So a lot of people are attracted to talk to me if they know my story because they have a lot of weight to lose. And for weight loss, exercise is not an important place to start. And in some cases, it's actually detrimental in the beginning when people start getting too excited about exercise and they start exercising a lot. And the reason why I'll say that is because exercise makes people hungry. It makes people hungry, and it makes people feel entitled to not pass up the cookie, the bagel, the donut, whatever's laying around, because, oh, I went out and I walked for 2 miles this morning, right? And now you carry that throughout the day. And at the end of the day, when you're trying to pass something up, you're like, well, I walked this morning, I could have it. The truth is you can't, because the calories that you burn through moderate exercise are nothing compared to the calories that we can overconsume if we start eating something that is calorie dense, or that's off, that's kind of off plan, right?
And that's an excellent point you made, that people get hungry, but beside they feel like they're entitled. And I think I agree with you. We always, I used to do that 5 years ago. I think I would go for a walk or a jog or a run, and I would come home and have an unhealthy meal, which would be 300 more calories than I burn in the run. So I think in the beginning, it could be actually detrimental. I agree with you. I think exercise is almost like a supplement to healthy eating, but it cannot be replacement of healthy eating. So exercise obviously improves your mood, improves your sleep, improves, in case if you are having emotional eating, depression, it helps those things. But exercise cannot be a only thing for the weight loss.
That's right. And so when I work with people now, I don't start them on exercise, but we work into exercise. And I know when it's time to start adding exercise by the way people start talking. And if they're still missing their treats, if they're still missing their rich foods, I don't start to introduce exercise. But once they are enjoying the fruit, right? For example, or once they're enjoying seasonal vegetables, or they're kind of finding these things and they're having fun and they're enjoying their new diet, bring it on, because the exercise is critical. And also exercise too for mood and sense of accomplishment. If you take somebody who's not used to exercising, like myself, I started running, but I didn't start exercising until I lost 90 pounds. I lost my first 90 pounds and all my habits were in order. And that was not by design. That was accidentally how it worked out. You know, I had a newborn and a toddler at home. I didn't have a lot of me time, you know. So, but I lost the weight and then I had so much energy that I wanted to exercise. And that's the perfect time. As soon as somebody wants to do more, then we start doing more, because you have to get to the point where you're exercising. The only other thing, for all of the benefits that you've already explained, the one other thing I'll add is that exercise is fun. You know, we were going to do this earlier, right? About 2 hours earlier in the day.
Yeah.
And I had meetings almost up until the time, meetings and calls scheduled. And since I got that 2 hours, I went for a 1 hour and 50-minute mountain bike ride.
Wow.
You know, I tried to use every minute of it that we had in between there. And I got home, you know, just in time to take a quick shower so we could do this.
See,
And
what I like about you, Anthony, is that not only you are very practical, you have gone through it yourself, you have a great coaching skills, you know when to introduce, other pillars of a healthy lifestyle, not overwhelming a person. And I think what you just said is actually better than many doctors in lifestyle medicine could do. Actually, you are, because in lifestyle, when it comes down to teaching lifestyle, many times lifestyle coach actually is better than even many doctors, because sometimes doctor rushes through, and because doctors traditionally are not good coach. There are some good doctors who are good coach, but doctors traditionally are not good coach. And that's what I think we need, person like you who understand not just the medical aspect, but also the psychology aspect, the coaching aspect. And coaching is really, really as important as the medical aspect when it comes down to healthy lifestyle. When it comes down to writing a Lipitor, medical aspect plays a 99% role. There is not much coaching there. You write a Lipitor, person takes it and done with it. But when it comes down to healthy lifestyle, coaching is so important. And that's where I think what you have established as a coach is very, very commendable. So, I mean, that's very, very impressive. So let's talk about sleep. What is your think role of sleep?
yeah, I know I feel better when I get enough sleep. You know, and my watch now tracks everything these days. I have this Garmin watch, and you know, honestly, I wish I was even getting more sleep, but I'm pretty busy with my coaching practice right now with my clients, and then also with starting this telehealth company and trying to squeeze in everything else I want to do throughout the day. So, you know, myself personally, if I had to pick an area, well, actually, I have two areas that I'm personally working on, and it's sleep. You know, making sure that I'm getting 8 hours of sleep per day. And I would say right now I'm probably working on like 6 to 7. So I don't think it's terrible, but I do feel better when I get enough sleep. The other thing that I notice, and I notice this with myself, and I also notice this with clients, if I'm sleeping 8 plus 9 hours, my body is having enough rest. I actually lose weight more quickly. I believe that my body stays burning fat longer. I don't know exactly how that works. I'm sure a quick search on nutritionfacts.org and we can find exactly the answer, right? That's where I go for all of my technical information when I do need to find that. But it is something that I work with my clients on. It's something that I'm a little bit better at teaching than practicing. And yeah.
I think when it comes down to sleep, we already know that just an overnight without any sleep, next day your appetite is higher, you eat unhealthy food. Actually, there was a study done where the subjects were not allowed to sleep for 48 hours, and their insulin sensitivity almost went down by 20 or 25%.
Wow.
So they actually needed more insulin to take care of the same food they were eating. And obviously, everybody knows when insulin is floating around, it's very hard to lose weight. So I think sleep is very important for weight loss. Obviously, it's important for productivity and mood and preventing accidents and many other things, even longevity and everything. But it's definitely a great tool. If somebody wants to lose weight, sleep becomes as important as healthy eating and exercise. So 7 hours minimum. 8 hours prefer. I agree with you.
Thank
So
you.
let's jump into your model now. So please tell us first about your own coaching practice, and then we will talk about your telehealth, which you are doing with other doctors. So tell us about your coaching practice. How can people look you up, sign you up with you? Is it all over the country, or is it just based in New Jersey?
Yeah, so I coach people mostly by phone. I will take people in New Jersey, and occasionally I get to see those clients in person, but I've had clients that live 3 miles away from me and we still do it over the phone. Phone or Zoom or FaceTime or anything like that is fine with me. So I like that model because it opens up the world, right? If people feel like I would be a good match for them, they can reach out to me. My website is Earned Health, because I believe that's the only way to achieve health is to earn it for yourself. So it's earnedhealth.com. And you can just get my email address or my phone number is on there. You can just send me a text message or give me a call if someone is interested in that. I don't keep a lot of clients because I want to really make sure that the people that I have, I can really focus on. So I typically run up to about 6 clients at a time. And it really makes me happy. I'm smiling as I say it. I'm realizing, when a client graduates, it means a lot to me. It means a lot when somebody reaches out to me because the fact that they would trust me to help them with something that I see as so important in their life and so key to quality of life. And then when they graduate, it just, it's very exciting for me. So,
No, I think
yeah.
we definitely need a lifestyle coach or a health coach, like who you are. And I seen you in a person at a conference. So I know you, what kind of person you are. I mean, you're very personable, you're very down to earth, you've gone through your own experience, you are knowledgeable. I mean, you know how to hold hands, you know how to motivate people. And I think the good thing I like about people like you that we have so many lifestyle coaches available in America. And I wish more people take advantage of them. I think that field is growing, in my opinion. I think America is almost ready for that field, but people are still not utilizing it. But in 5, 10 years, I think lifestyle coaches will be probably as busy as doctors because we have realized that changing lifestyle not only saves lives and health span, but also saves lots of money. So I think the cost of a lifestyle coach is almost like an investment. So I think we need more of that. Now let's go to your telehealth model. Please tell us who are the doctors working with you, and is it across the state line or is it limited to certain states? And does the insurance cover that telehealth or not?
Yeah. So I just want to, I guess, just preface a little bit why I got into coaching and why I started plant-based telehealth. And so all this time when I was in bad shape, when I was denied the life insurance policy, all the way through up until 2 years ago. So after I made my transformation and learned all this stuff, I've been working in pharmaceutical research. I was a director of research projects at Novartis Pharmaceuticals here in New Jersey. And I was excited about when I started working there about the idea of contributing towards therapies, right, to help people to be healthy is what I was that's what drew me to that kind of work, and that's what was my bigger purpose. That's kind of why I woke up in the morning to do my contributions towards helping to develop these life-saving medicines and therapies for people. And when I learned about whole food plant-based nutrition and then I transformed my own life, I kind of realized that there's another way. We can actually prevent the illness and we can prevent the disease from the beginning. And in some cases, many cases, we can reverse conditions. I mean, we have lots of good candidates. Certainly obesity is a great candidate for reversal, right? Definitely type 2 diabetes is a really good candidate. Many early stages of risk factors for heart disease, we can eliminate. So I was like, well, I want to do more there. So the coaching is a way I can reach some people, right? And really throughout my career now, that my second career that I'm starting, I left Novartis on August 10th of 2018. So it's been about 2 years now that I've been doing this full time, focusing on helping people to prevent and reverse disease, as opposed to helping with the disease treatment. And I realized I can probably help a few hundred people, or maybe I'll scratch 1,000, through my life, through my own personal health and wellness coaching. But I want to find a way where I can reach hundreds of thousands of people, or where I could potentially reach millions of people. So with my career change, I was always looking for that opportunity, and I didn't have it when I left. The only thing I knew, I was coaching, and I was just going to try to figure out how to help people more. But the idea came through because whenever I'm at these conferences, or whenever I'm at immersions and I'm sharing my story, or I'm attending as an attendee and I'm learning from the experts in our field, and people always ask, or some people use it as an excuse. Oh, if I could find a plant-based doctor, then I would be able to make the change. Or people say, well, I live in, wherever, where can I find a plant-based doctor who can support me on my transformation? Or occasionally, and I try not to get into anything kind of towards the negative, but occasionally people will say, I started eating a plant-based diet, and my endocrinologist says it's not going to work. And that, I'm sure that's like grabs me right in the heart, because you got to give it a chance. There's no risk factor. There's no reason not to try this, as a first line therapy. There's the risk reward ratio, right? It's like, what, you eat too many vegetables, nothing happens. You just get healthy, right? You may lose weight, right? You may lower your cholesterol, your skin may clear up, you might feel better, you might have more fun, right? So as I started doing that, I was like, there has to be a way. So I started examining telehealth platforms, telemedicine platforms. And it turns out there are a lot of them out there. And then I started looking into the legal requirements of medical licensure. And as you know, I have been working with Dr. Lori Marbus already on a number of projects in the education space. We got to do our own lives, the ask the doc and ask the coach kind of questions. And we had a great time. And because of the work that Lori was doing in her day job, she was licensed to practice medicine in 13 states. And that really got me thinking. I'm like, wow, well, if we get a few of these incredible doctors who practice lifestyle medicine, they really want to see more patients, and the people who want to change, they really want to see a doctor who understands how to support them on this journey. And all my coaching friends, they want to be able to refer their clients to a doctor who's going to support the message rather than it's going to contradict the message, because, again, mostly because of psychological effects. Somebody then has to decide, is my coach right? Is my doctor right? Right? So there's this kind of recipe that was brewing. The technology exists, the need was there. And as far as I know, there's no other lifestyle telemedicine practice with the goal to be national. So that was our goal from day one. We wanted to be a national telemedicine practice. The slogan is lifestyle medicine for everyone. And we realize, I have to kind of bite my tongue a little bit when I say that, because we are not accepting insurance at this time. I mean, the simple answer is we cannot afford to, but we are trying to keep it as affordable as possible for the patients. So the cost right now is $150 for a 30-minute appointment. And in talking with the doctors, and in talking with Lori when we designed all of this, she said that's really the minimum time that the doctor can spend with the patient to really have a meaningful conversation about lifestyle issues or lifestyle change, and really what to expect and how to responsibly practice medicine for somebody who's looking to make this kind of transition, right? So that's how the model works right now. And if somebody needs more time, they can always schedule a second appointment. They can schedule 2 back-to-back. We have a lot of patients that want an hour. They feel like they have a complicated case. They want more in-depth understanding. Other people, they space them out. They schedule, one week, and then they just put another appointment on for 1 week later. So maybe new questions will pop up. Other people, just see the doctor as needed. So the difference that we really wanted to make is we didn't just want to have consultations with a doctor. So the doctors are fully licensed to practice medicine. They are fully plugged into the prescription systems. So when they need to adjust medications, if they need to prescribe medications, any of those things, it just works. You know, by the time the patient gets from their home to the pharmacy, the script is there ready to be picked up, right? We need to be plugged into the labs. So for testing, and for our healthy plant-based people who just want a checkup, sometimes that just means vitamin testing. You know, there's controversy around, you know, should we be supplementing B12, D, omega-3s? But you know, the best thing to do is just test your levels, because I don't care what 20 people in a research study, or even 200 people in a research study, I don't care what their levels are. I care about what my levels are, right? So we need to be plugged into those lab networks. So now we're plugged in with LabCorp and with Quest. So we have 3 doctors on board now. You know, it's an absolute honor for me to work with each and every one of them. It's Dr. Lori Marbus. It's Dr. Michael Clapper, who I think everyone knows. Dr. Clapper, I don't know. If I had to guess, he's the most loved physician in the plant-based community, maybe.
Yes,
You know,
yes,
he's
yes,
fantastic.
yes.
And we have Dr. Chris Miller, and she's another amazing. She comes from an emergency medicine background, and she actually has. She won't use the word reversed. She's controlling her lupus, you know, on a healthy whole food plant-based diet, and she is like amazing when she starts working to people with food sensitivities. Because even within whole food plant-based, when you're going with these complex medical conditions, as you know, there are sometimes even plant foods that trigger things. And one of the examples is Dr. Miller told me she couldn't eat blueberries for a year, you know, because they were flaring up her autoimmune disease. But eventually she worked them in, she learned how to incorporate them, and now she has no problem with blueberries. They don't flare her up anymore. So she's amazing at working with people with, you know, somewhat complicated cases. So all these doctors are amazing. So, but the plan is not to stop with 3 doctors. Right now, there are those 3 doctors. They all charge the same rate. Their schedules are online at plantbasedtelehealth.com. So you can go there, you can sign up, you can register as a patient, you can check their schedule and pick your time slot. It works that easy. And they're seeing patients in 41 states. So I can't name everyone's. I know Dr. Clapper's licensed in Hawaii, California, New York, and Florida. So he can see patients in those 4 states. Dr. Marbus has 40 states. Dr. Miller I think she has 18 states. And we're looking to add physicians. We want to add at least 2 more physicians by the end of the year. We want to start to add registered dietitians also as well, because we think that they complement. It's also another regulated space. You know, registered dietitians have to be licensed in certain states in order to practice as well. So we're really working on these, you know, the things that are not so simple to do across state lines. We're learning how to do that. But the goal is I want everyone in the United States, and actually they do international consultants. So I want everyone in the United States. My first goal is anyone, no matter where you are, if you want access to a doctor who understands lifestyle medicine that's rooted in plant-based nutrition, then I want them to be able to have one. And
Let me tell you something. I remember Amazon in '95. People were not buying anything on Amazon. Even in 2008, 2009, when I needed a book or something, I would go to a bookstore, buy a book from Amazon, from a bookstore, even though Amazon had that book $2 cheaper. And now look at Amazon. Jeff Bezos is the richest man. Your model, to be honest with you, is the next Amazon, because we need lifestyle in this country, lifestyle management in this country. We need to break the state line barriers. We need to have this credible physicians who are very motivating, very like a coach, who are very passionate about what they do. They themselves follow this thing. Like many doctors don't follow lifestyle themselves. So I think we need people like you. People need like Lori Marbus, Dr. Clapper. I know both of them. I met both of them. Lori Marbus actually was sitting, you know, the next night after we sat at the table, at our table. So I knew her. And then Dr. Michael Clapper, I listened to him about a fasting talk, the same conference we had. I mean, he has a great fasting talk on fasting. And Chris Miller, I listened to her on Facebook Live many, many times. And they're great physicians. Your model is very cost-effective model. If you look at it, when we see a patient for 15 minutes, we get paid about $60 to $75 from insurance. So if you look at 30 minutes, that comes down to about $150. And then when it comes down to $150, many times out of the 15 minutes of a patient visit, true time with the patient is only about 8 or 9 minutes. Other 6 minutes is in the paperwork, is in billing, is managing medical assistant, is many time, taking care of prescriptions and computers and EMRs. So I think when a person with your program gets 30 minutes with one of the doctor over there, those 30 minutes are exact 30-minute one-on-one, all about the patient. I think to me that 30-minute is a great deal and a great discount, in my opinion, if somebody wants to change their lifestyle. So I think I'm glad I brought you on our live. I think many of our followers, most of them are in US, some of them are in other areas, Australia and New Zealand, other places. I think your model, like I said, is the next Amazon model. And with your energy, with your passion, with your skills and intelligence, and with your experience with Novartis, you will take this company, plant-based telehealth, to such a level where many of us will want to work for you one day. That's amazing. I'm very impressed.
Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate that, because my nose is at the computer all day long, and trying to figure out these, and on the phone. I'll give everyone a little secret. If you call the number on the website, it rings right here. You get to talk to me, and that's how we're working it. We know how important this is, and we respect the patients, and the trust that they put into our hands. So we're looking to do all of this right. And thank you very much for everything that you've said, because I agree, and those are the reasons why we're doing this. It's to really reach millions of people, and we can. And I just want to say one more thing about the insurance, because they are in our radar. We want to be able to accept insurance, but we know it's an uphill battle in order to get these doctors reimbursed at a fair rate for practicing lifestyle medicine. But we also know that as we see more patients and as we can show better outcomes, that the insurance companies, the self-insured companies and the insurance companies will listen. And we're going to be able to help to shift the healthcare model away from treatment and management of disease. And we really want to shift it towards the prevention and the reversal of disease. And
I think I agree with you. I think insurance company will actually come to you and say that please take our insurance. And I think even some of the large employer may come out and say that we got this 50 executives, please take care of them so our company never go bankrupt. Because so you will start getting calls from all over, not just insurance companies. You will start getting calls from all different variety of people, many small business owners who just really want to be healthy. So they will probably keep their doctor, but they will have your doctors as a health style doctor instead of just And I think that's the beauty of it. I mean, nobody says that you have to fire your doctor. You can keep your doctor and for your cold and flu, but you need to see somebody in person, maybe for a small injury or taking stitches or something. But at the same time, when it comes down to healthy lifestyle, the knowledge your 3 doctors have is typically not possible for most primary care physicians to have, because I remember taking lifestyle boards 2 years ago. Lifestyle boards requires almost like 100 hours of training, reading tons of material. And many primary care physicians, they are so busy, they just don't have time to go out of their way and get certified in lifestyle medicine. So I think your company, has a great potential to be a supplementary to many people's lives. So I'm very, very proud of you. I'm glad you came today. Please give us your final message.
Yep. So the thing I would like to wrap up on, and people have asked me before, what does health mean to me? And I love that question. And I haven't articulated my answer, but I want people to know that your health is not just about numbers on your tests. It's about, like, if I have to sum up in a word, it's about freedom. It's about freedom to do and to enjoy the things in life that you want to do. Because we get constrained. We get constrained because we don't feel good. We get constrained because we don't have energy. We get constrained because we're tired. We get constrained because we're full, because we stuffed ourselves. There's all these things that prevent us from doing things that we might not even realize that we want to do. And really reclaiming your health, and thanks to a whole food plant-based diet, opens up that world, and it gives us this freedom that we deserve. And if you really want to feel what what it means to really live, I would just encourage anyone to make the switch and make it last, and just like at least 2 months. Go 2 months, and if you really go for it, you won't even understand how good you could feel.
No, I think I agree. I think the definition by WHO actually clearly says that health doesn't mean absence of disease. Health means complete physical, mental, social, and psychological well-being. That means able to do things you want to do in life. Not having diabetes is not a health, but be able to jog when you want to jog is health. When you want to go out and play with your kids, that's health. Health doesn't mean absence of disease. So what you said is so true. Health is more than just what insurance companies and hospitals tell us. Health is lot more than taking pills. Health is lot more than just living life. Health is like totally enjoying life, and like you said, having the freedom. Having the freedom is the best word. So I appreciate Anthony here. I really enjoyed it. This will be on YouTube in a few hours, so you have access to it. And now this will be available to everybody who wants to watch it. But we will be bringing you back on in 6 months to see progress of your own coaching, plus definitely progress of your telehealth company. So wish you the best luck, and remember, you are next Amazon.
Thank you so much, Dr. AJ Shah. It's been a real pleasure speaking with you. I love what you're doing as well. I didn't get to brag on you as much during this interview, but your people already know, how amazing you are and how incredible it is that you're bringing all these stories together. And your encouragement really means the world to me. So thank you so much for that. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Had a blast.
Have a great evening. Thank you.
You too. Thank you.